Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Ram Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Ravanachari Yamuna Ravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodananda Nabrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Ravanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Who does not understand German? Anybody here who doesn't understand German? Wer versteht kein Englisch? Darn. Na immerhin 2:6. Okay. Deutsch. So, in Englisch. Kann jemand für Purusha Singer Prabhu übersetzen? Jetzt? Jetzt ist Bhakti Shastri Kurs. Ist ja auch genial. Okay. We are reading in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam in chapter 6 entitled Brahma Satisfies Lord Shiva, text 45. Tvam karmanam mangala mangalanam Tvam karmanam mangala mangalanam Kartuspats lokang tanushe swaparangva lokang tanushes katushva lokang tanushesva parangva amangalanang chatamishram ulbanam amangalanang chatamishram ulbanam viparyaya kena tat evya kasyachit viparyaya kena tat eva kasyachit tvam karmanang mangala mangalanam katu svalokam tanushe svaparangva amangalanang chatamishram ulbanam viparyaya kena tad eva kasyachit. Ja. Tvam karmana mangala mangalanam kartu svalokang tanushe svaparangva amangalanang chatamishram ulbanam viparyaya kena tadeva kasyachit. Tvam karmanang mangala mangalanam karmana mangala mangalanam tamishram ulbanam karmana mangala mangalanam katung svalokang tanushe svaparangva amangalanang chatamishram ulbanam viparyaya kena tat eva kasyachit. Sorry. Purusha Singer, du kannst ein bisschen laut, heller stellen, das ist nicht richtig hell, scheint mir. Meine Augen sind nicht mehr so gut. Ja. Ja, danke, merci. Hätte ich auch gleich vorhin. Tvam, your lordship, karmanam, of the prescribed duties, mangala, O most auspicious, mangalanam, of the auspicious, kartu, of the performer, svalokam, respective higher planetary systems, Tanushe, expand. Swa, heavenly planets. Param, transcendental world. Va, or Amangalanam, of the inauspicious. Cha, and Tamishram, the name of a particular hell. Ulbanam, ghastly. Viparyayam, the opposite. Kena, why? Tat eva, certainly that. Kasyachit, for someone. Translation. O most auspicious Lord, you have ordained the heavenly planets, the spiritual Vaikuntha planets, and the impersonal Brahman sphere as the respective destinations of the performers of auspicious activities. Similarly, for others who are miscreants, you have destined different kinds of hells, which are horrible and ghastly. Yet sometimes it is found that their destinations are just the opposite. It is very difficult to ascertain the cause of this. Prabhu used to pronounce it as certain, and it makes more sense. The adjective is certain, certainly. So why should one say ascertain? Doesn't make sense. Prabhupada used to pronounce it. It is very difficult to ascertain the cause of this. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is called the Supreme Will. It is by the Supreme Will that everything is happening. It is said, therefore, that not a blade of grass moves without the Supreme Will. Generally, it is prescribed that performers of pious activities are promoted to the higher planetary systems. Devotees are promoted to the Vaikunthas or spiritual worlds, and impersonal speculators are promoted to the impersonal Brahman effulgence. But it sometimes so happens that a miscreant like Ajamil is immediately promoted to the Vaikuntha Loka simply by chanting the name of Narayan. Although when Ajamil uttered this vibration, he intended to call his son Narayan, Lord Narayan took it seriously and immediately gave him promotion to Vaikuntha Loka, despite his background, which was full of sinful activities. Similarly, King Daksha was always engaged in the pious activities of performing sacrifices. Yet simply because of creating a little misunderstanding with Lord Shiva, he was severely taken to task. The conclusion is, therefore, that the Supreme Will is the ultimate judgment. No one can argue upon this. A pure devotee, therefore, submits in all circumstances to the Supreme Will of the Lord, accepting it as all auspicious. Tatenu kampang susamikṣamano bhunjana ivatmakritang vipakam ritvakva purbir vidada namaste jivita yumukti pade sadaya bhag. The purport of this verse is that when a devotee is in a calamitous condition, he takes it as a benediction of the Supreme Lord and takes responsibility himself for his past misdeeds. In such a condition, he offers still more devotional service and is not disturbed. One who lives in such a disposition of mind, engaged in devotional service, is the most eligible candidate for promotion to the spiritual world. In other words, Such a devotee's claim for promotion to the spiritual world is assured in all circumstances. I repeat this, the last two sentences. One who lives in such a disposition of mind, engaged in devotional service, is the most eligible candidate for promotion to the spiritual world. In other words, such a devotee's claim for promotion to the spiritual world is assured in all circumstances. Karmanam mangala mangalanam kartusva lokang tanusesva parangbai amangalanam chatamishra mulbanam viparya yakena tad eva kasyachit. O most auspicious Lord, you have ordained the heavenly planets, the spiritual Vaikuntha planets, and the impersonal Brahman sphere as the respective destinations of the performers of auspicious activities. Similarly, for others who are miscreants, you have destined different kinds of hells, which are horrible and ghastly. Yet sometimes it is found that their destinations are just the opposite. It is very difficult to ascertain the cause of this. Daksha had performed this sacrifice, and when he finally entered the arena, everybody rose to offer him respects, except Lord Shiva, who was absorbed in meditation on the Lord. He did not perceive the coming of Daksha. And Daksha became so angry, seeing Lord Shiva still sitting there, not offering respects to him, that he blasphemed him in strong words. He considered, and it was like this, Lord Shiva was his so-called son-in-law. Lord Shiva got married to Sati, the most dear daughter of Daksha, and therefore Daksha thought that Shiva, as his son-in-law, he should be the first to offer him respects. Lord Shiva did not do it. Daksha got extremely angry, blasphemed him like anything. Lord Shiva left the assembly. The next time Daksha performed a sacrifice, Sati, she saw the airplanes of the heavenly denizens above and the inhabitants, the demigods, were talking about the yagya of Daksha that he was performing again, and everybody was excited, and she also wanted to go. Lord Shiva told her better not go. Last time it was such an inauspicious occasion, you should not go. But still, she said, I just want to see my mother and my sisters. I would very much like to go, and I still will go. I will still go. Lord Shiva, what could he do? She went there, and her mother and her sisters greeted her warmly, but her father, Daksha, did not pay any attention to her. And she saw that around in the sacrificial arena, there had been arranged seats for all the demigods, except for Lord Shiva. And Sati got so much angered by this, that her father was such a miscreant. He did not. He did not accept Lord Shiva as the supreme of all the demigods, except Lord Vishnu, almost equal to Lord Vishnu, that he even did not pay attention to her, who she was the most dear daughter of her father, of Daksha. So she reprimanded her father, saying that he was just a materialist, not able to perceive the greatness of Lord Shiva. And she, in many ways, she tried to correct his mindset. And then she said, I will just cut off the connection to you because you are such a low, because you're such a materialistic person, offending my husband. And she just gave up her body. Sati, burning her body in the sacrificial arena. When Lord Shiva heard about this, he sent his... he got very angry, of course. He was very much hurt. He tore out some of his hair, threw it to the ground, and created a huge demon. And he sent this demon to go to the arena of Daksha's sacrifice, to kill Daksha. And all the followers of Lord Shiva, the Bhutas, Pretas, the hobgoblins, all kinds of demons, they followed this huge demon. And they went there. And this huge, I forgot the name, this huge demon, he was able to kill Daksha, cut off his head. And other sages were also hurt because they had shown appreciation for Daksha when he was blaspheming Lord Shiva. They just wanted to follow the seemingly most important person at the occasion. They also got hurt. Afterwards, the demigods came to Lord Brahma, asking for help. And Brahma, together with the demigods, he went to Lord Shiva, and he's offering these beautiful prayers to Lord Shiva. And he's a little complaining. Normally, a person, when he performs pious deeds, when he's a devotee, he goes to Vaikuntha, or when he's just performing materialistic, pious activities, he will go to the heavenly planets, at least, or Jnani, he will go into the Brahman, will be lifted up to the Brahman. And persons who perform impious deeds, they go to heaven, to hellish planets, to get the proper reward for their sins. But sometimes it is just the opposite. And this is very difficult to understand why this is like that. So Lord Brahma, he was a bit complaining. He knew that Lord Shiva was in a superior position than he, although Brahma is practically the father of Lord Shiva, because Shiva emerged from his body. But Shiva is in a higher position. He is originally, Lord Shiva is like Vishnu himself, but having come to this world to perform his service in this world, taking charge of material energy, who was embodied in Sati, his wife. Lord Shiva was bound like this, and he was bound by this affection to his wife Sati also, and therefore he killed Daksha. And Brahma complains, Daksha yet performed so many. Shi Palat Lakshmi Singadev. Wow. Wonderful, beautiful. So Brahma was complaining. Daksha had performed so many pious activities. Just because of this little misunderstanding, he has been killed. Couldn't you do something about this, please? Lord Brahma knew that Shiva was able to give the life back to Daksha. And he practically asked Shiva to do this, to go and give Daksha his life back. And this one of the sages, his teeth had been broken out, had been smashed out. One sage, his beard had been ripped off. So Brahma asked Shiva to forgive the demigods, forgive all those who had offended him, and go to the arena and do the needful, heal everybody there. Because Lord Shiva was able to do so. And later on we see that Shiva indeed, he went there and he gave the life back to Daksha, who had offended him, and even caused his wife to give up the body. He gave the life back to Shiva. But unfortunately, this huge demon, the servant of Shiva, he had cut off Daksha's head and thrown it into the fire, into the sacrificial fire. Here, that's a nice offering. So the head of Daksha was gone. What to do? Shiva looked around. The huge demon, he had not been able to cut Daksha's head. He had taken a sword and many hatchet, many weapons, but he could not even injure the skin of Daksha's neck. What to speak of cutting off his head? Then you saw this machine where the animals were killed to be put into the sacrifice, the sacrificial animals. He saw this machine, and he took Daksha there, put him on this machine, something like cutting the cabbage or so, I guess. He put Daksha on this machine, pushed down the blade, and was able to sever Daksha's head. Done. This machine, there were lying quite some heads of sacrificial animals. The bodies had been put into the fire, and the heads were lying there. So Shiva just took the head of a goat, and also to teach a little lesson to Daksha, he put the goat's head on Daksha's body, and he revived him. Okay, Daksha came back to life. He had some realizations, and he was very humble towards Lord Shiva. He had realized what Shiva was able to do. He had realized the power of Lord Shiva, the status of Lord Shiva being the Lord of the material nature. And Daksha offered him very nice prayers, and he was very nice, very humble, speaking. He had the brain power, brain capacity of his real self. Because it's not just, the brain is not just in the head. Daksha with a goat's head, still he was the same personality, because the soul is surrounded or enveloped kind of the mind and the intelligence. And the mind, intelligence are seated in the heart. It's not just the brain. It is used kind of, but Daksha was the same personality. He had his realizations and he had become very humble. So Lord Brahma was successful with this pleading to Lord Shiva. Lord Brahma here in this translation, this verse, he explains that normally pious people go to superior places, impious go to lower places, but sometimes it's just the opposite. Very difficult to understand for me, Lord Brahma says. Yeah, it's difficult for everybody. Prabhupada gives the example of Ajamil. Ajamil, he was a very nice son of a Brahmin. He was performing his duties very nicely. Once he went to the forest to collect some flowers and fruits for the puja, and there was a prostitute with one of her men, and they were embracing. And Ajamil, he saw this horrible, but somehow he got attracted. His lust was aroused. The lust came up in his mind. And he got influenced by this. He could not forget this sight. He got influenced by this. He got attached to it. He became very lusty. And finally, he was living with this prostitute, had children with her, and he performed all kinds of sins to maintain the life with this prostitute, stealing, cheating, killing people to maintain his life. Had children with her. In his ripe old age, he had one more son, and remembering his former activities as the son of a Brahmin, he named his youngest son Narayan. And Prabhupada says, like, the affection always flows down to the smallest member of a community. Like water always flows to the deepest point, affection always goes to the youngest member of a society. So Ajamil, he was very much attached to his youngest son, Narayan. Finally, it was time for him to leave the body. He had to leave his sinful body, his sinful life behind. And when the hour came, the Yamadutas, the servants of Yamaraj, came with their rattling with their chains to chain him up and pull him out of his gross body and drag him to Yamaraj's abode, where he would have to pay for all his sins. They were very much eager to fulfill their duty. When Ajamil saw these Yamadutas coming, he got so afraid. He screamed. He did not scream, "Mama," he screamed, "Narayan!" He called for his youngest son. What could his youngest son help him? But his affection was directed to this small son, and he called for his small son. But because he called the name of the Lord, Prabhupada writes, Lord Narayan, he took it seriously, and he immediately sent his servants, the Yamadutas. So the Yamadutas appeared there on the scene, and they told he sent his servants, the Vishnu Dutas. The Vishnu Dutas came to this scene, and they ordered the Yamadutas, stop this. This person cannot be taken by you. And the Yamaduta started arguing, but he performed so many sinful activities. His whole life was sinful life. He has to go to hell. He has to be corrected. He has to be rectified by our Lord Yamaraj. Why do you stop? Why are you trying to stop us? We are going to perform our duty. And the Vishnu Dutas, the Yamadutas saw that they were most powerful, with their brilliant effulgence, with their hands carrying their weapons, with their superior knowledge. And they, no, we have been sent by our Lord Vishnu. Also your Lord and Master Yamaraj, he is a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. And Vishnu ordered us to come and take the soul of this Ajamil. Please just let us take him now. He is not meant to be taken by you. The Yamaduta said, okay, what can we do? Take him. They went to their Lord Yamaraj. And Yamaraj explained to them that just because Ajamil had uttered, at the time of his death, had uttered the name of the Lord, therefore, even not knowing what he was doing, still the Lord heard him saying his name, and he saved him at the very end of his sinful life. There are also other examples. Prabhupada once gives the example of a Muslim who was killed by a wild boar in the forest. The wild boars are not like the pigs here in the West. Those wild boars, they have very strong, very long teeth, sharp teeth. If anybody sees or hears such a boar approaching in the forest, immediately he climbs up a tree, because this boar, he comes, attacks your legs, throws you to the ground, and kills you with his tusks, and maybe eats the body or something like this. In any case, very, very dangerous. This Muslim, he was killed by a boar, and he was screaming, "How horrible! How horrible! Haram! Haram!" And because he was calling, "Ha Ram! Oh Lord Ram! Oh Ram!" Lord Ram saved him and took him back to the spiritual world. Ajamil also, his destiny and his proper destiny would have been the hellish planets, but just because he had uttered the name of the Lord, he was taken back to Vaikuntha. Other cases, there was Drishtaketu Maharaj, who was a very great personality, a very great devotee. He was the greatest of all yogis and devotees. He was flying around in an airplane given to him by Lord Vishnu. Very fantastic airplane. And he was all the time, he was accompanied by the most beautiful ladies from the heavenly regions. And he was, together with them, he was singing, praising the Lord, singing beautiful bhajans, beautiful descriptions of the activities of the Lord. And then Drishtaketu Maharaj, he flew above the realm of Lord Shiva, and there he saw Lord Shiva surrounded by the greatest of the sages, Narada Muni, Kuvera, the Kumaras. And Lord Shiva's wife was sitting on his lap. And Kuvera, Chitraketu Maharaj, he started laughing. How is this? Lord Shiva, the greatest personality, practically God himself, the greatest of renunciates. He is sitting in the assembly of sages with his wife on his lap. And Drishtaketu found this very funny because it was such a contradiction. Lord Shiva, he embodies renunciation. Lord Shiva smears his body with ash. He does not wear costly clothes, but he just wears a tiger skin. And he doesn't have costly ornaments, beautiful ornaments. He just wears a garland of skulls. And here snakes are wound around his arms and legs, around his neck. His hair is matted, unkempt, not taken care of. Lord Shiva embodies renunciation. And he was sitting in front of all the greatest of sages, Narada and others, and his wife is sitting on his lap. Drishtaketu found this so funny. Lord Shiva, renunciation personified, sits with his wife on his lap before all the sages. And he just found it funny and he was laughing. And Lord Shiva's wife, she got very angry upon him and cursed him to become a demon. Okay. Drishtaketu, he humbly accepted the curse of Parvati. Oh yes, oh mother, if you curse me, I will accept it. This is Krishna's will. Okay, I will become a demon. And he became the greatest of demons. Later on, Indra, he wanted to perform his duty and kill this huge demon, this most powerful demon. And he did not know what to do. He was not able to overcome him with the weapons. Drishtaketu, as a demon now, he could easily overpower Lord Shiva, Lord Indra, and with his huge club, he hit Airavata, the elephant of Indra. They flew away far distance. And Indra, what to do? I don't know what to do. And then he got the advice to go to Dadichi Muni and ask him for the bones of his body. And with those bones he would be able to build a thunderbolt weapon, his lightning, his thunderbolt weapon. So they went there to the Dadichi, and Dadichi said, "What you want? You want the bones of my body? But I need my body. What do I do without my body?" And he was playing with them, little boy, please, we need this, otherwise this huge demon will destroy all the demigods, please. And then he just laughed, okay, of course, no problem. And he left that body and they took his bones, and Indra was able to build his weapon, and he attacked the huge demon who was Drishtaketu. And he started to cut his head. He was flying around he was lying there, and Indra flew around he was so flying around his head all the while with his weapon, with the lightning, cutting on the head of this huge demon who was Drishtaketu. And this huge demon, he was encouraging him, yes, Indra, just go on, perform your duty. finally I will be able to leave this demon body. Go on. And Indra realized, oh, this is a devotee. This demon is actually a devotee. How can I kill this devotee? Actually, I cannot do this. But this demon, formerly, actually Drishtaketu, he told, please go ahead, do your duty. You are the king of the demigods. You have to kill the demons. Do it. Go ahead. Just do it. And Indra, oh no, I have to do this. If he says so, he is right. I have to do it. And finally, he succeeded in cutting off the head of this demon. And Drishtaketu became Drishtaketu again. And he went, if I remember correctly, he went back to the spiritual world. But Indra, he was staying back. And Indra realized that he was actually the loser. He was staying back in the material world, being king of heaven, but still in material world. Also problems, demons coming and after some time, he would have to give up his body. And I realized, oh yeah, he is the lucky one. He goes back, and I have to stay here. Sometimes things appear very contradictory, and still we are trying our best. We think, well, we try to become devotees. But why these things are happening to me sometimes? I did not do anything. Well, Prabhupada quotes this verse. Tatenu kampam susamikṣamano bhujana Jiveta yumukti padesa dayapak. I looked up the translation. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. In one Gita purport, Prabhupada also quotes this verse, and I found this quite often think of this, found it very inspiring, very practical. And the Gita Prabhupada writes, in the Srimad Bhagavatam is stated, Tatenu kampam susamikṣamano. Whenever a devotee is in distress or has fallen into difficulty, he thinks that it is the Lord's mercy upon him. Whenever we have problems, we should think that it is the Lord's mercy upon us. He thinks, thanks to my past misdeeds, I should suffer far, far greater than I am suffering now. So it is by the mercy of the Supreme Lord that I am not getting all the punishment I am due. I am just getting a little by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore he is always calm, quiet and patient, despite many distressful conditions. Im Deutschen heißt das deshalb ist der Gottgeweihte trotz vieler leidvoller Umstände immer gelassen, ruhig und geduldig. Gelassen, ruhig, trotz vieler leidvoller Umstände, immer gelassen, ruhig und geduldig. Therefore he is always calm, quiet and patient, despite many distressful conditions. Once Srila Prabhupada cut his finger a little bit in the kitchen, and he said, he gave the example of this verse. Actually, my head should have been cut off, but by the mercy of the Lord, I just cut my finger a little bit. That is the mercy of the Lord. That's how we should think. If we look back in our life, especially here in the West, we have had the education of the materialistic society, who is at least demonically influenced. You can't say the leaders today are demons, they are just ignorant fools and rascals. But the society is following demoniac principles, killing animals. My father was a farmer. They killed the pigs. When I saw it the first time, how they killed a pig, just to turn it into sausages and things. When I saw this, I got so shocked and afraid, I ran away and crawled under the bed of my grandmother, and I was lying there crying. And they came there and just so shocked, so horrible. But then you grow up with all these things and get influenced by association. Parents doing this, everybody's doing this in society. The Pope eating meat. One of the popes gave the dogma, the verdict. He proclaimed, animals have no soul, and man is supposed to lord over, to take charge of this world. So, the animals are meant to be our food. Although in some places in the Bible, it is said that one of the apostles write, one who kills an ox, actually it's just like killing a man. But the church, the followers of Jesus, there was the Roman emperor, and he became interested. Oh, if we can make him a Bhakta, maybe he will make Christianity the state religion. But in the Bible there are so many statements about no alcohol drinking and no killing of animals. If he sees this, I think it was Augustus, if he sees this, he will not like it. So we just take the Bible, so-called correctores, and they edited the Bible. They took out all these things, all these things condemning meat eating, alcohol drinking, all these in the Bible condemning all these illicit activities. They took it out. They just so-called edited it. And then, it became the state religion of the Roman Empire. And from there it spread all over the world. But the real essence was lost. What is the use? If we would kill animals or cows, the calves, if we would do this, Lord Nrisimhadev would not be pleased. A devotee is not able to kill even an ant. Narada Muni, he saw this hunter, Mrigari, who was killing animals only half dead, leaving them lying there in agony, being fatally wounded, but not dead, and he just liked it, how they were lying there and suffering. He went and hunted the next animal. Narada saw this and he told him, why are you doing it like this? The sage, he realized, Narada Muni, great sage. Why? And I have to make a living, my family. They need this. I sell the meat and we need this. Narada, but you will get so many reactions for this. Mrigari, and he showed Mrigari the animals who were waiting for him after he would leave the body. he showed him the situation, how it would be after he leaves this body. And Brigadi got very scared. Ask your family members if they take your sinful reactions. You say you do it for them. Ask them. And he went to his wife. And he said, will you take my sin? No, you're doing this. I'm not. I will not. I cannot take it. And so Brigadi, he got, we know the story. He became a devotee. And next time Narada Muni visited him, Brigadi ran, he was running towards him. Oh, but then Narada came with his friend. Forgot the name. And they saw that the former hunter, he was coming towards them, but he was jumping here and there, and it looks very funny. And then they asked Narada, Brigadi, why are you jumping on this path, over the path and back and here and there? Why are you jumping? And he said, oh my Lord, oh my Master, there were so many ants on the path, and I did not want to step on these ants. Just imagine, he had killed animals half dead. Now he was not ready to step on even an ant. So, but in today's society, all the cows outside, all these animals, they all will be killed. So we had alcohol, all these things. We have been taking part in all this sinful life, and we have quite a load of sinful reactions on our head. Actually, it's said, when the spiritual master accepts a disciple, he takes on the reactions, the sinful reactions of this disciple. Therefore, also a pure devotee sometimes gets sick and suffers because of his disciples. But still, sometimes we get a little reaction so that we learn, so that we get reminded, so that we stay humble in our activities. We consider, yes, something happened to me, but this is so wonderful, this verse. We should know if something happens to us, we should see it in the proper relation. It's all relative. Something happens to us. Oh, why does this happen to me? I'm practically a pure devotee. I do everything so correctly, over correctly. Lord, why did you do something to me? No, we should consider, oh yes, I'm such a sinful person. I deserve to get punished like anything for all my sinful life. But the Lord is so merciful. He just gives me a little punishment, just a little bit. That is the Lord's mercy. Therefore, devotee is always satisfied and staying humble and meek, calm, quiet, and patient. In any circumstance, whatever happens, some devotees act strange toward us, or no prasadam left, or some things. We always, oh yes, I deserve much more than this. What can you do? Krishna's mercy. Fast a little. So, this Bhagavatam is so full of nectar, so practical. We can just implement all of these wonderful descriptions of the Lord's. And it also says, another nice verse, I noted down. Yasyaham anugrinami harishti tatanang shanai. If the Lord Krishna says, when I feel especially merciful towards someone, I gradually take away all his material possessions. It's Krishna's mercy when all our things are taken away, when everything is taken away from us. Srila Prabhupada, he was very rich. One astrologer had even said that he would become one of the richest men in the country, in India. But there was also another prediction, astrological prediction. So Srila Prabhupada gradually, when he started to perform his devotional activities, Krishna gradually took away everything from him. Prabhupada lost his wealth, his business, his income. Finally, he just left everything, and he only concentrated on the instruction of his spiritual master to preach the message of Lord Chaitanya in English language. And Prabhupada, he often thought of this, he remembered this verse, Harishti tatanang shanai, when I want to favor somebody, I take away everything from him, so that he does not take shelter in material possessions, but he only takes shelter in me. So Prabhupada had nothing left but the instruction of his spiritual master, and he concentrated on that. And finally, Krishna gave everything back. But not a material family. Prabhupada said, I lost my family. His wife, she was not very respectful. And one day Srila Prabhupada came back. Oh, Devi, where is my Bhagavatam? I'm looking for my Bhagavatam. You know about this? Oh, I sold this Bhagavatam because we need tea and tea biscuits. So Srila Prabhupada was very disappointed, to say the least. No understanding, no. And one time he told her, so you have to decide. It's either his wife, she was always drinking tea upstairs and also influencing the children. It's either tea or me. And his wife, well, then I think I take the tea. She thought she made a funny joke. But Prabhupada saw it, okay, that was it. And he left his family and went away without anything. He had lost everything. Living in Vrindavan, very no income. One milkman gave a half liter of milk to him every day. And Prabhupada started to publish his magazine, Back to Godhead, and with the small income, it was just a few pages. With the small income, he bought paper, and he bought that to a printer, and he printed his Bhagavatams. And when Prabhupada had 200 sets of his Bhagavatam, finally he begged for a free journey to America, and he arrived there with 40 rupees, which he could not exchange, and 200 sets of his Bhagavatam, and a bag of grains, because his friends had told him, there you cannot eat anything, everything is polluted by meat and alcohol. So he brought a bag of grains with him, so determined, having nothing but just his few books. And Prabhupada, yes, slowly. And then Krishna gave everything to him, but spiritually. Prabhupada said, now I lost all my children, but now Krishna gave me so many children, spiritual children, his disciples. Yes, Krishna is taking care of us. Not even a blade of grass moves without the will of Krishna. So we should not be disturbed. Maybe we should be satisfied with simple life and high thinking. And Prabhupada says this body it will die after a few years, after a few days, who knows? But the soul is eternal. Therefore, the soul is more important than the body. And we try to be conscious of this. Try to purify our consciousness, our mind, the mirror of our mind, Cheta Dharpanamarjanam, the mirror of our consciousness. We try to purify our consciousness and begging Krishna only for his devotional service. Hare Krishna, please, O Lord, engage me in your devotional service. We are asking Krishna only for devotional service. And one Gita Prabhupada writes, when there are problems, the devotee finds solace in devotional service. Yeah. He takes responsibility himself for his past misdeeds. In such a condition, he offers still more devotional service and is not disturbed. When we have problems, we take shelter, we find solace in devotional service. When we have problems, we perform even more devotional service. We chant more, we read more. And this helps. Krishna helps in that way. Okay. It's very late. Is there any question? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Akhila, I had a question. You mentioned when you were talking about Shiva that he is the greatest. That Shiva is the greatest one.
Ja. Ja. Ja, gut.